Hello and welcome to Veritas Populi, Truth for the People. I'm your host and producer of the show, Dan Meredith. On Veritas Populi, we explore many areas, historical, political, spiritual, and cultural. We believe that the truth is like a precious metal. The harder it's rubbed, the brighter it shines. Today we're honored to have Joni Bryan. She's the founder and director of the 917 Society. 917 Society. Not a lot of people have heard of that. Is it relatively new?
It is. We began about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about the 917 Society.
Okay, well, about 3.5 years ago, I was at work and I was discussing the Constitution with someone who lived where I work. I work in a retirement community. And he had ran for governor in the 60s, had been very involved in the civil rights movement. And we were debating the Citizens United case. And he looked at me and he said, "My dear, when is the last time you read your Constitution?" And when he asked me that question, a light bulb went off. And I'm like, wow, I haven't. I haven't read it, can't remember. And then I recalled back in 8th grade, Mrs. Alexander's class in rural Alabama. We would memorize parts and take a test, and that was it. And I thought, well, you know, am I the only one that this has happened to? You know, have other people read it and I just haven't paid attention? So I started asking everybody, the CEO, the people in the kitchen, everywhere, and I got the same answer. And I thought, well, you know, we need to change how we view the Constitution. I had never thought of it as mine. And when he said those words, your Constitution, it just made me change how I viewed it. And I thought, you know, I've got to do something. And so I started researching and learning more. And I learned that September 17th is Constitution Day. I also learned that there's a federal mandate. And all schools that get federal money are supposed to have a program on the Constitution on or around Constitution Day.
Let's pause for just a second, just for our viewers out there, so they can be part of this. Let's ask that question to everybody. When's the last time you read your Constitution? I'll ask for a show of hands. Let's see. Remember back the show where the lady picked up the little mirror and looked and see so she could see the little kid. Wonder how many people have read their Constitution. I don't know if I've read the Constitution. I don't know if I've ever read it through. I've read parts of it.
Right.
There are the Bill of Rights. Many of the parts of the Bill of Rights, the amendments, are very important that I've read. There are some of the parts of it that I've read through, but as far as reading the whole thing, it's been a long time since we've studied it. But it's such an important part of our lives because the Constitution says it's the supreme law of the land.
Yes.
And it rules all of us.
Yes.
So it is important.
And it's the
something
one
that
thing
we don't really think about very much.
We don't, and it's the one thing that binds us all together as citizens. The one thing. You know, we're all so diverse, so unique. Everyone, you know, has special gifts, talents, but that one thing, and it really resonated with me. And so I thought, well, you know, how can we change this? How can we change how we view it? And so after I learned about that mandate, I thought, well, you know, I remember sitting in school and just mostly memorizing things and taking tests, and I thought, what if we brought a film? I do some screenwriting on the side, and I thought, what if we did a film that was exciting and drew the kids in and made them think of it a little differently?
Now, is this you said it's a mandate. Is this a federal mandate?
Yes, it's a federal mandate. Actually,
when did this come about?
In 2004, the mandate was passed. Senator Robert Byrd actually introduced the bill. And it was originally Citizenship Day, and that was like in the 50s, I believe, but then it was changed to Constitution Day in 2004, and that's when the mandate came about. But when you read the mandate, and I went in and researched it, it basically says that they're supposed to have a program. There's a few websites they referred to you can check out, but there's no funding, there's really no guidance. And so I thought, well, what if we provided a free program for teachers and students for Constitution Day? So that's kind of how the 917 Society was born.
So what is the mandate? What does the mandate actually say?
It's
a federal mandate. It's federal law.
Yes,
that
it's
says
in public law.
something.
Yes, it's in a public law, and it states that all schools that receive federal funds are supposed to have a program on or around September 17th each year to commemorate Constitution Day. But there's no funds for it, there's no guidance other than a few websites they can click on. And you know, and teachers, what I've learned in researching all this and going out and meeting with teachers, we've been attending the Tennessee Social Study Teachers Conference for the last several years, and the teachers are excited to have a free resource. So basically what the 917 Society is a free resource for teachers to help them celebrate Constitution Day. So it's very simple. We started with 8th grade because we needed to have a place where we could focus on, and in the 8th grade in the U.S., that's when the curriculum, they're supposed to be doing civics. And so that was the year we chose to begin our project. And so we're beginning this year in Tennessee.
Okay. So how far along have you all gotten? Is this just a state?
Well, we're
doing?
really excited about it because once we got the film started, I was able to get someone to narrate the script, and that was really exciting. I'd never done anything like this before, and I reached out to someone here in Tennessee, in Franklin, who represented someone who I wanted their voice. And I'm kind of dating myself, but Walter Cronkite, I loved his voice, and he had that wonderful authority figure voice. And so I wanted someone with a neutral accent because our goal is to be nationwide. And so I was watching television one day, and I heard the most wonderful voice, and it was Nick Clooney, George Clooney's dad. And I thought, wow, I would love to have his voice. He was a newscaster, journalist, and just has a beautiful speaking voice. And so I reached out to Ryan Geffen in Franklin, who represented Nick for a speaker bureau. And I told Ryan, I said, you don't know me, this is my vision of what I want to do. And he said, I think that's great. He said, I'll ask Nick Clooney if he'll narrate it for you. And I really thought I'd never hear another word. I truly didn't. But 2 weeks later, I got a phone call. And Nick Clooney called me, and he said, tell me your story. And I was, like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So I basically am telling him the same thing that I've just told you. And he said, well, you don't know this. He said, but Senator Robert Byrd actually gave me a Constitution before he passed away that I carry with me in my pocket. And I also gave my son George one. And he said, so I'm in. And so in August of 2014, they came, he and Nina, his wife, and they helped me kick off the nonprofit. And so we've been working since then he gave his services to narrate the script, so all that's already done. So now we're just working on the other part of the film and just gaining awareness, and because we are not funded through the state or the federal government in any way, we have to rely on individuals and businesses, corporations to help us to get this done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're now what he's narrating is this is
It's part of a film to be shown in the classroom. It's about a 15-minute film, and it opens up, it draws the kids in because in 2011 there was a Supreme Court decision that video game censorship was unconstitutional. And so we open it on a video game. So it's kind of an exciting thing to pull kids into it. So it's not your boring, this is the Constitution. It's a fun film to get them thinking about it differently and how it affects them and showing the relevance of the Constitution in their life and in all of our lives.
Okay. And then you plan on, as far as once the video's done, what do you plan on doing with that?
Well, that's what we're doing now. We're working toward our big event to premiere the film. In fact, we're in the process right now of finishing the film. And so we've been in the classroom and doing some things with the kids and getting wonderful feedback. But we're having our big film premiere May 23rd at the Franklin Theater, and Nick and Nina Clooney will be here. And so we're going to have a big red carpet event, an old Hollywood theme. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're asking people to buy tickets to help support the project. And so what the kids will be getting is, of course, the film will be available on our website. And then each student will get to carry with them into citizenship. At the end of the film, they each get their very own Constitution. It's in a leatherette version, so it's a commemorative copy. And not only we want to have the U.S. Constitution, but if we're able to raise enough of the funds, we want the state of Tennessee Constitution included. So it's strictly, we have no political agenda, no religious agenda. It's strictly just the text of these documents that we're giving the kids to carry with them, and then a website with resources so that they can learn more, and so teachers can have free resources for the kids so they can help, because the teachers truly are unsung heroes. You know, they're expected to do so many things with no funding, and so this is just one less thing that they've got to think about, that they can have this program and use it however they choose.
Okay. Now, as far as the your all's work with the 917 Society, is are you going to be providing this for teachers to teach the Constitution as part of their regular curriculum, or is there going to be some special Constitution class, or?
What we're offering is we're offering the film for Constitution Day, plus they get their Constitution, and then on the website we'll have resources available so they can have lesson plans and different things that they can utilize. And we're gathering those now from a lot of different sources, so we're putting those on there for free so they can download those things to use. We just had someone in Franklin, I had Sandy Wells, that has been conducting a Constitution camp for years. And so we're letting them have her curriculum and some of the different curriculums that are out there and lesson plans, so that the teachers will have resources that they don't have to, you know, try to dig up. It's there for them if they want to use it.
Okay. Have you done much work with other groups or groups in other states, or have you made contact with other?
We
groups
have.
that are doing this kind of thing?
Actually have other schools in other states that are excited about the program. So Tennessee is really kind of the kickoff state. We're kicking this off this year, and our goal is to reach 100,000 kids. We're including public school, private, and homeschooled. So any of the 8th grade teachers can participate. We've already had almost every county somebody sign up for it, so we're real excited about that. And then once we get this done this year, September 17th, then we'll be traveling in November to the, well, it's actually the beginning of December, the National Social Study Teachers Conference in San Francisco, and we'll be having a booth there and let all the teachers know about it nationally so we can get it into all the schools.
Okay. Now, how big is your group? Do you have, you're the founder and director.
Yes.
Do you have a large group?
We have a small group. We have 3 board members, but then we have several advisory people that are working with us. And so we have probably working all together about 6 or 7 that are, you know, have come together to work on this. Plus we have gotten a lot of community support, and it's building. And so that's what we really need right now, is just more people to get involved, companies that, you know, want to sponsor, and that would be wonderful, individuals. I mean, anybody can participate. You know, what the money goes for, of course, is the film, but also purchasing the constitutions. And so it's about $2 to $2.50 per child that it's going to cost. So, and we've raised almost half of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got about 150,000 more to go to cover the entire state.
How about the state legislators, people like that? Have you had much input from them?
Well, I have to say, I'm very excited, because what really got me going, I did have to take almost a year off due to a health issue. And so once that was resolved, or was better anyway, I went to a meeting and I met Senator Kerry Roberts. And Senator Roberts, he really just, it reignited my passion, because he was so excited. I was telling him about the project, and I was really trying to figure out where to go. You know, where do I go to get help, you know, getting this in the schools? And he kind of led the charge. And last September we had a fundraiser, and we had Senator Mark Green, who was our title sponsor, which really helped us to keep going. And we're excited about that. And he's even filmed some things for us in support of the project. And so I've been out there meeting with different legislators, and so far I've just had wonderful positive responses from everybody on both sides. I've only had one response that almost stopped me in my tracks, but I got through that, and I pushed forward, and
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I had a U.S. representative tell me that nobody cared about the Constitution.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, I haven't met Kerry Roberts, but from what I've heard, and I have emailed him, and good guy. Kerry Roberts, you're a good guy. I haven't seen anything, heard anything about him yet. It's bad. And Mark Green, he said, in this studio, Mark Green is A-OK.
Yes,
and those people out there that are saying bad stuff about Mark Green shame on you. You're bad people. Because Mark Green is top notch, good Christian man, and he will make a great person in the Secretary of the Army.
Yes, yes, we're real excited about that.
And if he doesn't, then he'll make a great governor. So Mark Green's a great guy.
He really is, and I know there's been some negativity in the press, and all I can say is when I met with him, our board is very diverse. We have a diverse group of people, different backgrounds, different lifestyles, different situations, and so we are not a political organization in any way. And he knew of our board and our diversity, and he was gung-ho all for the project. And so yes, the things that are being said are not true, and just we're very, very proud of him.
Well, there's people out there lying about a lot of people. Now, as far as the person that said that people don't care about the Constitution, you know, that might be right. I don't know, but what difference does that make? There are people that don't care about laws. That doesn't mean we don't keep working on laws and you know, keep trying to abide by the law. What you do is you educate people. If everybody knew the Constitution and everybody was studying the Constitution, then of course there wouldn't be any need for you. So you know, I think that's one of the reasons why we do this show, is because there are a lot of people that don't understand. So we're trying to help people, to get people like you and all the guests that we have, to try to let people know about what's out there. And let people know more.
Definitely appreciate you letting me come and share the project, because I'm so excited about it. And I know it's needed, because as we've been in the classroom, you know, we're learning just how needed it is. And you know, like I said, our teachers truly are our unsung heroes. I used to be a social worker in Alabama, and my ex-husband was a public school teacher, so I'm just well aware firsthand of the challenges that teachers go through. And so to be able to provide this free for the teachers, it's pretty exciting.
What have you found about, you said that you hadn't read much about the Constitution. What does the Constitution mean to you? It's not just something that you want other people to read. What does it mean to you when you've read through it? What did you discover about the Constitution?
For me, what I discovered, some things I really didn't realize. I think the federal government, I think a lot of times, or most of the people, or maybe just, you know, maybe not most of the people, but in my opinion is, we elect people, we send them, you know, to office, and we just expect them to do what they're supposed to do. And we don't really hold them accountable. And we don't really think about what they're doing or how they're doing it. And so for me, reading it and learning what they can do, what they can't do, you know, the checks and balances that are in place, and understanding how that all works, I think that really impressed me a lot. And also to know that our states have a lot more rights, you know, and I didn't realize that, you know, so that's why I wanted to include the state constitution for each one of our states that we go into. We're going to offer the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution for their students, so that they'll have that, you know, because that's important too.
Yeah, a lot of our ills in society today would be resolved if people actually read this document, read the Constitution. Some of the arguments that we have between the state and the federal government, or the problems that are going on in the federal government, would be solved if people just read the Constitution. You know, it's like a lot of people don't realize that some of the problems that would be solved in our lives if we would just read the Bible, what God said. Well, the Constitution wasn't written by God, but it was written to set up our government, and now people are just ignoring it. They don't realize that the federal government, the Bill of Rights, if you read it, it says that those things that weren't enumerated for the federal government were reserved for the states and the people.
Exactly.
And so the federal government is overreaching so many things, and when people start saying, well, how come you say that the federal government shouldn't be doing that? Well, it's not just me saying it or someone else saying it. Just read what it says. It's in there.
And I didn't know that. And so
a lot of people don't. They think, well, this is just some cantankerous guy on TV that's saying the federal government ought to keep their business out. It's in there. And people that are in the federal government that are overreaching and setting up all these federal programs, they're doing it and they're not authorized to do it. And that's where the problem comes. If we would just read that document and abide by it, so many of our problems would just go away.
Well,
And if we just agreed to do what it says, we'd be okay.
Exactly. Well, I was at a meeting the other day, and I was listening to some of the legislators talk about our budget and how that it's like 70% of the federal budget is just on autopilot. And it just is, and it's not accountable, to whether we have the money or not. It's just there, and it just goes out. And so we're just racking up, trillions and trillions of dollars worth of debt. And, at some point, something has to change, you know. And so there are some things that are going to have to be scaled back. But, of course, there's definitely a lot of programs that are absolutely needed and necessary. We should have those. But I think, that we have to be just aware of what should be going on. And I'll be honest, I would vote and then not even think about it, and now it's like I'm a little bit more aware of, wait a minute, can they do that? Can the president do this?
Right.
Can the Supreme Court do that? So it's something I never thought of before. So it's really raised my awareness, and I hope that it'll raise other people's awareness. And we hope with our young people, what we want to do is when we place this in their hands, you mentioned about this is our American Bible. This is, each one of us have to live under this, no matter what else. This binds us together.
Right.
And so when we place this in their hands, we want them to feel a sense of honor, a sense of respect for being a citizen. It's pretty cool to be an American, We want our kids to realize our servicemen take an oath of office to uphold the U.S. Constitution.
Sure.
Our representatives and senators, as I was talking to the one that told me no one cared about it, I said, well, your oath of office says that you are to uphold the U.S. Constitution.
Sure. And the shame is, I was at a meeting one time, one of my good friends, it's a radical right-winger, he was sitting there with, in fact, it was one of our very well-known state representatives, and I won't mention her name, but she's very well known. And he asked her, you take an oath to abide by the state constitution and the federal constitution, and everyone that you lead in the state house takes the same oath. How many of them have read the Constitution? Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's a requirement. What do you mean that's not a requirement? Because these people take an oath to abide by the federal and the state constitution, but yet they've never read it. I mean, it's one thing to have Joe Blow that's sitting at home on his couch drinking beer and watching, Honey Boo Boo to not read the Constitution. But if you have taken a vow to abide by and defend the Constitution, and then you haven't read it, I mean, that's almost criminal. That is criminal. To say you're going to abide by it and you're going to defend it, and you don't even know what it says.
You don't even know.
That's
I have been amazed. Almost every legislator that I've asked, do you know what 917 is? They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't.
That's not right for people
and very
to be up there.
And very few legislators knew about the mandate. Very few know that it's a federal mandate. Now in the Tennessee House, there's a House Bill 287, and that is, it's not been finalized yet, but it's on the floor, and it's about making the week of September 17th celebrate Freedom Week. And there are some things in there, but it's the same thing. There's no funding. There's no program that they can, have, or a free resource for them. Because, I mean, the teachers can buy these, but, when I was married to a public school teacher, there were some days he had 96 kids in a day. Wow. And you think of, $2 a child, that's almost $200. Well, I was at a meeting the other day, and one of our county school boards was talking about their teacher supply budget. And last year it was like $100, and this year it's went up to $200 for the year, the entire year.
If someone wants to find out more about your group, they can go. We can't really raise money on the TV show, but if someone wants to know more about your group, you have a website?
We do.
917Society.com.
That's it, 917Society.com.
Go there. They can find out more about your
They
group.
can find out more about the event coming up. If they just want to participate, volunteer, contact me. I go to speaking engagements all over the state, and I'm happy to go speak to their group. I love doing that. So yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we wish you well. We hope you do well, and I hope a lot of people learn more about the Constitution. We hope a lot of children learn more about the Constitution, because, you know, I was watching TV recently, and Tucker Carlson had Richard Dreyfuss call in, and Richard Dreyfuss has this Dreyfuss agenda or something going on, and he says that we need to have civics taught in schools because we don't have it taught anymore. Children aren't taught these things, and our society's breaking down because we don't know the Constitution. We don't know what our people, our government is founded on any longer. We just think that our government, our rule of law is just founded on whatever we want it to be. And if we want to change it, we can, rather than we have these well-defined rules that we have to stay within.
Right. And if we want to change it, we can, but
there are ways to do it.
There's the proper way to do it.
We have to go through the proper.
You know, one thing, you asked me that question earlier, one of the things, you know, we're so blessed to be self-governed, but one thing that I've learned through all this is that it's so important that we govern ourselves, and that means good citizenship. So we want to make it a rite of passage for our kids, that when in 8th grade every year, that they know they're going to get their Constitution as a rite of passage into citizenship.
That's great.
And we hope it stays with them.
Well, we wish you well. We hope you do are able to educate a lot of young people. We hope a lot of people join on with you, and that your group grows, and not only goes through the state of Tennessee, but it grows nationally, and that next time we have you, maybe you'll be able to tell us that you've gone national and have millions of people that are learning about the Constitution.
I hope so.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
We hope you come back sometime. Appreciate all of you all listening. Hope you've learned some about the Constitution, and remember that the Constitution is what binds us all together. We have many different nationalities that have come here to live, to become Americans. We have many different religions, but we have only one law that binds us together, the Constitution. Thank you for watching.